sure. I suppose I'll have to tell him anyway. Ah well, here goes. Thought I'd have to tell you. I've got an addiction. No, not to cheap Spanish cooking sherry. No, not to sleazy sex sessions, or even watching back-to-back George and Mildred. No, I've got an addiction. Pokemon Go. Can't stop, let me tell you. I picked up our Tarquin Keanu's mobile phone the other day just to make sure he's not sexting like a lot of his contemporaries are doing at that school, St. Crispin's Juniors. So I was wanting to make sure his phone's all in order. And I saw this little creature. And then I started reading it. Before I knew it, I was chasing one round the living room. There was 2 going down the high street and 3 in the off licence. I managed to catch them all. Well, the other week I managed to find there was one of these jinxy ones, wasn't there? Guess where it was? It was at our funeral parlour. Piggin Funeral Directors. I couldn't believe it. Boxon, Burnham and Gravely. And there it was in the middle of it. Well, I shot in, didn't I? Now the reception was empty. All there was a few coffins hanging around, you know, so you could take your pick, a couple of them lying, so your eternal rest's really comfortable. And I saw it on the counter. Well, I was just about to catch it when I heard her coming through, receptionist. I jumped down on top of the counter, put my hands over my chest like that and shouted, "Shop!" Anyway, when she came in, I just said, "Well, we're moving, love, and I've come in for some empty boxes." Anyway, to gone by that time, I chased it again. We ended up down at the newspaper place, newsagents. Anyway, I went in, he was looking at me all strange, I'm wandering around with my mobile phone. He said, "What do you want?" I said, "We're having a party. I've come for some of those party packs, you know, with the hats and the blowers and that." Oh, he said, "Yeah." Oh, look at me showing all that cleavage off. A bit much, isn't it? Too much for a white woman on a Wednesday. He said, "Yeah, we've got these party packs." I went, "Thank you." He said, "What's it for?" My birthday. He said, "How old are you?" I said, "Go on, guess." He said, "Let me think. 37. I said, "No, I'm 42, but thank you." I checked my phone, it had gone. Shot outside. Where did he end up? I was in the baker's. Running round all over the place, wasn't I? Phone in hand, chasing it. Eventually, he said, "What are you doing?" I said, "I've come to get some, I want a birthday cake." He said, "Who for?" I said, "Me, it's my birthday." He said, "How old are you?" I said, "Go on, guess." He said, 40s, early 40? 40? Oh, I said, "Thank you. I'm actually 42. Anyway, I looked at my phone, it had gone again, so I shot out, I went into the butcher's. He's watching me walk round, looking down my phone at the floor. He said, "What are you doing?" I said, I've come, it's my birthday, I'm going to order some food. I want some chicken drumsticks and I want some of those little sausage rolls that you do in rolls, 12 pack. He said, "Yeah." He said, "Who's it for?" I said, "Me, my birthday." He said, "How old are you?" I said, "Go on, guess." He said, "Well, I can always tell the age of meat by handling it." He said, "So get your tits out." I said, "You aren't. I'm an actress and a lady and I don't sing songs." And he went, "If you want to know your age." I said, "Go on then." So I whipped him off, more cleavage than this. Whipped him out. He had a good fertile, didn't he, playing around. Then he did that one, then he did that one. Did them both together, lifted him up. He said, "I think you're 42. Oh, I said, "That's a clever guess. Can you tell all that just from playing with my tits?" He said, "No, I was stood behind you in the queue at the newsagents." Bastard. Anyway, we've also had a funeral this week. Hang on, let me cut it top of my Peruvian mahogany ear off. That's better. Yeah, we had a funeral this week. Sorry if it tell you. Yeah, Connie Mottershed, her husband William, died. Sad. William Mottershed. Oh, what a sad thing. It was a weird accident, you know. He was going round the Cadbury's factory. And you can do this tour, Cadbury's factory. So he was doing this tour. Let me just move you better, that's it. And he was doing this tour of the Cadbury's factory. And you go on this gantry about 30 feet up, looking over the all hot chocolate. Well, he didn't hold onto the safety rail, and apparently he tripped and went head first into a vat full of hot chocolate, 30 gallon. So he poached to death. That's death by chocolate, if you don't know. So, we've had this funeral for him, and she's not got much money, you know, Ethel Shack, she's not Connie Mottershed, she's skinned. So we had a lovely funeral for him. Sang that timeless classic, "Billy, Don't Be an Hero." God, it were a good funeral. I enjoyed every minute of it. The funeral director, I couldn't believe it though, an absolute ringer. I thought it was actually our Mayor of Wigan, the current Mayor of Wigan. I kept speaking to him saying, "Your Worship, oh your Worship, yes your Worship." Then I found out it wasn't the Worship, it was the twin brother who used to work on the bins and now he's doing funeral directing. He can only do that because he walks in front of the hearse, you know, because that's what he used to do with bins, carrying it down the road, you know, which is fair enough. It's a bugger when you stop at every backs and it keeps looking to see how many bins are out before you can move on with coughing. That's the problem. So, I got distracted at the funeral though. Kept looking at all these signs, they were everywhere. Bingo, Zumba on a Tuesday, hula hoop test, you know, I was thinking I might try some of these. God, this funeral went on and on and on. It was one of the longest funerals I've ever. Bored out my head. Must have been going 7 minutes. Then I carried on a loop, another 7 minutes had gone. Before I knew it, an hour and a half had gone. I grabbed this priest going past and went, "Excuse me, can you give me the password for the Wi-Fi here?" He looked at me like I was shit and he was Ajax. He said, "Have some respect for the dead." I said, "Is that all small case and no gaps?" Anyway, eventually it finished and we took him to the graveyard to bury him. St. Crippin's, the church. So we're wandering round, aren't we? Found the hole, plonked him in, filled him in, and I'm watching. There's about 4 funerals going on while we're there. And round the side of the grave took as long as the church. 2 hours stood round there doing the praying and whatever they do. Don't know what denomination it was, but I'm not being buried like that. Bored out my head. And I kept watching these funerals going round and they're dropping them off one after the other, and there's one more. Oh, they were wandering everywhere. These pallbearers, they must have been carrying this coffin for an hour looking round. I thought, they've lost the plot. They really are. So that was about that. Then she'd had a gravestone done, you know. I said she's not got much Connie Motter shed, so she's had to have a cheap gravestone done. We got the Stonecutter's Apprentice, he's done it. Oh, it's very nice. Lovely stone. She'd had it put on in biblical writing. He was thine. Not lovely, very biblical. The only problem is this young lad's missed the E off it and it says, he was thin. So when we saw it, I grabbed him by the scruff of the neck. I went, "Here, you little shit." I said, "You wouldn't have missed an E if it were a drug. Get the E on there before we come back. We'll be back in an hour." So I left him, didn't have his chisel and mallet. Buggered off. Came back an hour later. Anyway, he'd done it. He put the E on. It now reads, "E, he was thin." Can you believe it? That's the youth of today for you. Right, well, I can't stop. I best go. Starting work. I've just been looking out the window here. Some kids have just been shouting to Basil Newby, "Hey, Grandad." How embarrassing. He turned round and looked. No. Who knows? If you find a girl